My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my ranking of Edgar Wright's movies from worst to best. And this video will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But Edgar Wright is one of my favorite filmmakers. He just has such a distinct style, and I love it. Like the way his movies are written, the way they're edited, the soundtracks. Like so many of his movies are funny and action packed and emotional and clever and he makes lots of original movies. So he is just one of my favorites. But his worst movie, and it's the one movie that doesn't belong here, and unfortunately, it's the brand new The Running Man. And this movie was just a crushing disappointment. Like, you've got such a great premise here, and they just screwed it up. And I'm also a big fan of Glen Powell. I thought he was terrific in Hitman and Tristles, but I didn't think he was all that good here. Like, he does have charisma, but he just doesn't have enough to work with. He's the action lead, and he barely kicks any ass. Josh Brolin kind of feels like he's phoning it in, and he's not bad, but I wasn't too impressed. Coleman Domingo does a great job. Lee Pace as the villain is just so generic. Emilia Jones really let me down. Mike Rossio also let me down. Like, you've got so many talented actors, and nobody besides Coleman Domingo really stands out, and it's just a shame. And I just found the story to this movie to be an absolute mess. It just keeps beating you over the head with the message, and I found it to be distracting at a certain point. Like, there's one scene early on where, what's his name? Benjamin? Yeah, Ben, I think. But he's in a lineup, and this old guy is sick, and he tries to help him, and he gets beaten, and he has to go to the back of the line. And I don't really feel like that scene was needed. I got it. I already understand that this is a dark future. And I don't know, like, the movie is so heavy-handed, and it's not even all that smart, and it says everything it wanted to say like that. So for so much of the movie, it just feels like it's repeating the exact same thing. And it's just so frustrating to me. And it doesn't help that you've also got a structure where Ben needs help from William H. Macy. He gets help, he leaves, William H. Macy dies. He gets help from those two brothers, they end up going separate paths, and he moves on to the next person. Mike Rossio helps him out, then there's a big action scene, and he dies, and Ben goes on. He runs into Emilia Jones. It's just the same thing over and over again, and we didn't spend enough time with any of these characters for them to really leave an impression. And the way Emilia Jones' character is handled is so weird because she's just a brainwashed upper-class person who believes everything she saw on TV, and she realizes she's been lied to, and she ends up taking Ben's side. A decent character arc for an entire movie, but condensed into like 10 minutes, and as a result, it just feels so phony. So when she's on the plane and you can tell she's changed, it doesn't have any impact because it just felt like another forgettable side character. And from the moment Ben pretends to have a bomb in his pocket, the movie gets so cringy. Like, there's all these twists and turns, and Lee Pace was actually a running man, but now he's a hunter, and Josh Brolin wants that for Ben, and then he wants to motivate Ben by seeing an obviously fake video of his family getting killed, and then Ben won't kill him because he doesn't want to give Josh Brolin what he wants, but he still kills Josh Brolin on TV at the end of the movie, and it just became a mess, and I didn't care. That's the bottom line. And also for like a movie set in such a bleak future, I never bought for a second that he would get paid at all. And I didn't really care about his relationship with his wife and kid. It felt like just a generic... To be honest, I feel like the movie should have cut back to his family watching the show, rooting for him, so we can feel a bit more connected, because I really didn't feel that. And the action here really isn't all too good. Like, you've got a few scenes, but they're way too short, and they don't really stand out, and lots of the action is just a bunch of bullets coming through a wall or a door, and Ben not getting hit. And once again, the action lead doesn't kick ass, and then he's like, oh, I'm not going to kill this guy. But then he still kills... It's just a shit movie. It's so shitty. And it really pissed me off. It's also void of any of Edgar Wright's style until the very, very end of the movie. And look, I'm just going to say it. It's just a worse version of the Hunger Games franchise. That movie looks at a dystopian future in a much more effective way. In a much more subtle way, even though those movies aren't subtle. In a much more emotional way, and you know, everything with Ben becoming a symbol felt so shoehorned in. Like, if you want to watch a movie like this, just watch the Hunger Games franchise. You don't need to watch this movie. It's... Oh, wow. I need to move on from this movie. It sucks. It's easily Edgar Wright's worst movie. Okay, from this point on, it's movies I like, and his 6th best movie is going to be a real hot take, and it's Shaun of the Dead. And I do want to begin by saying, I like this movie. It's good. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost do a really great job. I love the way this movie is edited. I just love that scene where Sean and Liz? Yeah, Liz, his girlfriend, are talking, but then it turns out everybody else is there, and just the way that scene is edited, or when Sean is flipping through the channels and each channel is finishing off the other channel's sentence. Like, it's just such a well-crafted movie. It's got some funny moments. It's clever. I like how it's a story of how Sean has to grow up. And I would love this movie if it stuck the ending, but I don't care for the last act. I don't think it delivers on the thrills and the payoff it should have had. Like, Sean should have become a hero, and he just really doesn't become one. And then instead of Sean moving on from his best friend, he keeps him chained up in his shed. I don't know, I feel like the movie loses focus by the end, and it's still a good movie, but that's why it's only number 6. Number 5 is Last Night in Soho, and I hated this movie back in 2021, but on a rewatch, it just clicked for me. It wasn't the movie I initially thought it was going to be, but if you look at what this movie is, it's pretty damn great. I do like the twists and turns and how the movie evolves throughout, and it's actually like a pretty bleak movie. You know, like, you just have so much sympathy for this person, and I like how much against prostitution this movie is. It actually reflects a real world issue in a way that felt honest, and you know, it just really worked. And it also shows how people move on from traumatic experiences, and yeah, this is a smart movie. It's incredibly well acted. I love Thomasin McKenzie's performance here. Anya Taylor-Joy does a really good job. Matt Smith definitely stands out enough. And I love the way it's directed. It looks great, and that dance scene is so good. Every song pick is pure perfection. From I've Got My Mind Set on You, Puppet on a String. What's that one song? Do 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 Downtown by Pula Clock. Yeah, there's so much to love here. I do got some issues, like the very, very, very end of this movie is a little weak. And there's some moments that could have been done better, but it's a movie I've really come to appreciate and love over the past few years. His fourth best movie is Baby Driver. And I actually do have some good memories of this movie, but it's still fantastic. It's an original action movie that feels so original. It feels fresh. It feels new. You know, like, here we've got Edgar Wright taking his style in a much more accessible way, and it just really works for me. The way this movie is edited to the beat of every song is just pure perfection, and there's lots of artistry on display. I love the way this movie escalates throughout. It has heart, it has soul, and I love the handling of the villains here. How John Hamm is the cool, nice villain at first, but he turns into a psychopath, and how Jamie Foxx is like a red herring. It's actually so brilliantly written, and everybody does a great job here. Ansel Elgort, Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm. Who's the girl? Eliza Gonzalez? Everyone does a great job. I love this movie. It's lots of fun. It's stylish. It's just awesome. Oh, and of course, the soundtrack rules. The intermission scene is just filmmaking gold. Then my third favorite movie of his is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and this movie is just incredible. It has such a distinct style that people have kind of tried to replicate since, but no one does it as good as Edgar Wright does here. It feels fresh, it feels new, and it's a hilarious movie. It really is, and it's so well edited, and I just love everything about the presentation here. I think you've also got a real good story about this narcissist. You know, like, Scott Pilgrim is a real shitty guy, and I do like the way the movie explores these characters, and everybody gives a great performance. Like Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Jason Schwartzman. I love how he's the big villain, but he doesn't have the typical villain look. Brendan Ruth is really great in his minimal screen time. Kieran Culkin, terrific. And the soundtrack is so good. Ramona by Beck, Black Sheep, just so much to love here. It's a truly one-of-a-kind movie, and I just love it. My second favorite movie of his is Hot Fuzz. And I don't like the very, very, very end of this movie. You know, with the bomb going off and the fake out, I didn't need any of that. But the rest of this movie is just golden. I love how so much of the story is about this conspiracy, about land and this highway that you just don't give a shit about. But then it actually turns out that it's just the killings are about the dumbest shit ever. And it's really funny, but in the moment it feels dark and it feels sinister and it has emotional weight, and it's just a masterclass in tone. The movie's incredibly well edited, it's really funny, it's clever, and I just love these characters. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost does a really great job. The movie has great action, it's really self-aware, and yeah, it's just one of Edgar Wright's very best movies. But it's not his best movie. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I feel like it is, but his best movie is easily The World's End. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is Edgar Wright at his very best. Because you got everything you'd expect from this movie with the clever editing, the way the story is told, the attention to detail, like the fact that every bar name has some sort of importance to the story. But I love how it changes genres halfway through. I think the performances here are incredible, especially Simon Pegg. I will die on the hill that he should have won an Oscar for his work here. It is some truly incredible work. The movie is hilarious. It's got terrific action. Just so much to love here. But what really elevates it, and what really surprises me, is how emotional it is. You've got this guy who just never grew past his youth, who never got past that sense of nostalgia, who never got past that feeling of hope. And when he entered the real world, he was in for a rude awakening, and I find the ending of this movie to be devastating. There's moments I've looked back on in my life where I'm just like, was that the peak? Is it all downhill from here? And I love the way the movie actually reflects on that, and even how all flaws and insecurities and all issues are what make us human, and that's so important. Like, a flawed human is better than this perfect being, and I really do love the story this movie is telling, and I just find it to be beautiful, and it resonates with me, and it's some really profound stuff. So this movie delivers as a comedy, as a sci-fi, as an action movie, but also as a real emotional movie about growing up, and Edgar Wright's style here is just impeccable. I love the soundtrack. It has maybe my favorite cut to credits ever, and it's one of my favorite movies ever made. So that's why The World's End is my favorite. But what's your ranking of his filmography? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.